Yes, you have read the title correctly. I have added a new crazy ant species to the collection. And I also have a new nest. Excited? Go watch this video until the very end. So yes, this is the ant I'm getting. Can you guess which one it is? Before I tell you, we are first going to assemble a new setup for these amazing ants. Wakooshi was kind enough to supply me with a large Saturn nest. Actually, I have wanted this nest since they launched. I'll tell you my opinion at the end of this video, and it may come to you as a surprise. So, here you can see me assembling the Outworld. If you are interested in how to assemble the Saturn nest, I uploaded the whole assembly process to YouTube. If you want to see that, I'll leave a link in the top right corner. The assembling process of this Outworld was very straightforward. You can assemble this Outworld without a manual in an hour easily. Given that you never need to assemble it again, I'd say it's pretty worth it. After assembling, the Saturn nest looks like this. Cool, right? I really like the look of these nests, but looks aren't everything. We need to put some ant inside this nest. You already know I'm going to put in some crazy ants, but you have no idea which one. Alright, without keeping you waiting, I'm going to move in a Lepiciota Frauenfeldi. EA, did you just cast a Harry Potter spell on us? No, this is their name, Lepiciota Frauenfeldi. They are a species that mainly lives in hot Mediterranean countries like Greece. These ants were caught by a friend and were meant to be sold. Esthetic ants already had some colonies for sale, and these were there to replenish the stock. But when I saw this 25 queen colony, I was in love and I needed to keep them myself. If we quickly do the math on this colony, then it's valued around 625 euro. Yeah, that's right, 625 euro. So, this is my most valuable colony at the moment. Before I'm going to tell you more about this somewhat rare species, let's first move them into a large Saturn nest. Before I did that, however, I applied some fluon along the edges. This to make sure the ants can't escape when I need to do some feeding or cleaning. Some test tubes weren't needed, so I took them out. After that, I placed in the test tubes with water and one empty tube at the bottom. Placing in the test tubes is very easy and straightforward. They also don't fall out, which is great. Placing in the ants went really well. The autofocus decided to disco, but other than that, the ants started moving out really fast. As you can see, there was a lot of activity. These ants were already 1 week in my care, and as you can see, they have laid a ton of eggs. This is very good news so far. The workers of Frauenfeldi are very good looking. They have an orange and black body. They also have long legs that they can use to run very fast. The queens are small and have black bodies. I felt like these ants weren't going to move, so I helped them a little bit by tapping the tube into the Outworld. In hindsight, this wasn't needed, but it gave me a couple of awesome shots. Here you can see a lot of the queens and also a couple of males. These ants were taken from a major colony, so it isn't weird that there is a late brood amongst them. The ants quickly realized that the nest was split and started to transport everything back to the test tube. Apparently, Frauenfeldi has a very strong pheromone trail, which the ants can find very quickly. In this time lapse you can clearly see the ants forming a trail and bringing brood and queens back to the test tube. It was unbelievable to witness this type of ant behavior with my own eyes. After all, the brood and queens were back where they started. The entrance to the Saturn nest was not yet discovered, and it took a long time before the first ant ventured inside. But once the first pheromone trail was laid out, the ants quickly discovered it. A day later I filled up a liquid feeder. You can already see it, can't you? The ants moved. Most of them anyway. The ants are very active and I see a ton of brood, which is very nice. Apparently it is hard to get brood from eggs to larvae. Hopefully these eggs will develop. Another day later I fed the ants a rat runner. Since these are very small ants, I cut the rat runner in a couple of pieces so they could get inside easily. Meanwhile the liquid feeder just got bombarded and there is always 20 workers drinking at any point in time. You can't really see it, but they almost finished half already. These ants weren't that interested at first in the rat runner, but the Lepisoda Frauenfeldi would not be crazy if they did not have that pheromone trail. Within minutes the rat runner was swarming with workers. A day later the ants moved everything into 2 tubes. And do you see that massive brood pile? It looks like a lot of queens laid new fresh eggs. The next thing I spotted was even more insane. Larvae! This is such good news. Keeping these ants in captivity is not easy, and it's so great to see the eggs make it to the larvae stage. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this species while looking at some footage of the ants. So, this species is called Lepisoda Frauenfeldi. They are mainly found in Greece, Turkey and Algeria. Colonies are often found under rocks where it is very hot. These ants should have access to a very warm heat source. That is why I gave them a 40-degree heat mat. Colonies consist of 100 to 1000 queens. This species is extremely polygynous. They are also observed to have bivouacs, meaning they can construct nests from their own bodies. They have small nuptial flights and usually breed within the colony, which points towards inbreeding. Although this has not been confirmed or observed. There is very little known about these ants, even though they are very common in the Mediterranean. Right now I'm the only store selling them, and I think the only English community member that has a colony of them with this many queens. That is why I'm honored to start this journey and document this amazing species. If you have any other information I need to know, please leave it in the comments. I will pin that comment if it is of any relevance. Now, before we end this video, let us talk about another star, the Wakooshi Saturn nest. Now, I told you there would be a surprise in the end. I think, me, Esthetic ants, that the Wakooshi Saturn nest is, wait for it, the best ant nest available right now in the whole wide world. Yes, you can quote me on this. There's just not a single flaw I can point out. This nest is amazing. It's simple, elegant and efficient. The only thing I can say is that it is a quite boring way of keeping ants. Imagine putting a master species inside this nest. You can leave them for 6 months without doing anything. I guess it's not really a complaint, more like a style choice or personal opinion. What I really like about this nest is its transportability. Everything is contained into one little unit. This nest is very beginner friendly and there's not much you can do wrong. I can recommend this nest to everyone and you can get 10% off this Saturn nest with the code AestheticAnts. That being said, I'm going to decorate this nest in the next video. For now I'm going to watch these ants develop and wait until they grow in size. I'm very hyped to take care of this species and extremely curious how they will evolve and what the experience will be of keeping them. Will they be fun to keep or a pain because they grow to immense sizes? Only time will tell. And that's it for this video. A lot of work went into this video, so I hope you like it. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.